Um,
You.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you ready to share your
Yeah,
slides?
I'll. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Perfect. Right, I will put
Amazing.
myself on mute and turn my video off. Are you ready to go? Yeah?
I'm ready to go, and hopefully I'll do this in the 15 minutes allotted. Um, so yes, I'm a designer, and obviously I had to design some slides for you guys. So I'm actually a freelance designer, and I've been working in the industry for a little over 5 years now. I've worked in-house, agency, and now freelance. And I'm one of those annoying people that really love my job. So I'm going to share a few quotes and notes today. So quotes that have inspired me throughout my career, and also some notes I've taken along the way for my personal experience, and basically sharing my design diary with you, and maybe even persuade you guys to become a graphic designer too. The first quote is, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." And at school, I had no clue what my future was going to be. I didn't even know what career I wanted. I studied a different variety of subjects, but none of them actually being design. And to be honest, I wasn't looking to start a career, but I just wanted to be in a creative job and figure out what allowed me to do this. It's funny listening to a couple of the other speakers because I also went to university. I went and studied visual arts, but ironically, I couldn't draw or paint and struggled to see myself as an artist. So I ended up dropping out. Sorry, mum. And that happened in my second year. But I got a laptop and found out what the creative Adobe suite was whilst at uni. So when I came back, I started continuing to learn, but more in design and did a lot of research. And these are some of my favorite books. I've also got one here that I haven't included called Work for Money, Design for Love, which is amazing. And the best thing about design books is that they're really easy to read because they're designed so well. One of my favorite is also Caps Lock, which delves into literally the start of design. And one of the things I learned from that book is that branding actually comes from farming and branding cattle. So that has still stuck with me 5 years later. And then I started making my own zines in my spare time. I'm really exposing myself because I dug these out from when I was like 19. And I built a very basic portfolio. And I started sending out applications and got my first job at a publishing house. So it's funny that we've just had publishing because that was the first job I had as a designer. So I say that I started in-house, but what does this mean? In-house means that you're working with a business within a creative department. So say like IKEA, you would be designing not only catalogs, but labels and socials, but just for that business. The pros for this is that it could get repetitive and you could feel like you're only doing one kind of thing. But the positives about it is it allows you to deep dive into the brand and kind of have a bit more predictability with what kind of design you'll be doing. It allows you to expand a bit more. Agency, which is another route you can go down. This is something like Pentagram, a big design company. Um, the cons are probably that it's high pressure environment and very competitive, but the pros are that you get to work on loads of amazing clients and learn from other designers around you. And finally, freelance is what I'm doing. So you get to be a single designer and self-employed, but this means that you have to do a lot of your own business, accounts and management, and client calls. But the amazing thing is that you get to talk to your clients all the time and have full reign on projects and make your own schedule. So I currently live by the beach, which I love, and that's all because of freelancing. So that's been me over the past 5 years. I genuinely believe that being a designer is one of the best jobs in the world. You get to continuously learn and get to evolve with technology, but the industry also really respects tradition. Being a designer, you're also a bit of a chameleon, so you get to work in different industries, like Ben has mentioned. I've mainly worked on projects such as startups, female-founded businesses, NGOs, and charities. Um, and I even got to collaborate with Ladies Wine and Design, which is an amazing NGO too. And I just really love my job. But there was a tiny little bit of unfinished business. So I actually ended up going back to university when I was 25 and got my degree in design just because I loved researching so much. So the note that I would give you guys is use your career to shape the life that you want. The design career can be so flexible, so you're able to like choose which route you want and merge it into allowing a life that you love. The next quote is by Paula Scher, who is a design god, and she says, "Design is everywhere." And I'd really recommend watching her episode on Netflix called The Art of Design. It's an hour long and it teaches you so much. And to prove that design is everywhere, I spent a day and was like, how much design can I see? And I live in rural Cornwall, so you guys will probably see much more than me. And I started with you have design whilst you're showering and washing your hair. You have it whilst making coffee in the morning. You see it whilst checking your messages. You see it on your run, on your feet. It's on logos down there. It's on buildings when you walk past buildings. This is amazing typography that I had to stop and take a picture of. And then it's even in your bed with you when you sleep. So I mentioned IKEA earlier, and that's because I saw this logo on my pillow and I was like, it's everywhere. And these are also different types of design jobs you can do too. So you don't have to just do graphic design. You can do logo design, print design, product design. There's such a variety and it's all around you. And there's an actual term for this. It's called frequency illusion. And it's a cognitive bias in which people notice specific concepts or words or ideas more after becoming aware of it. So think of it as like you see a Mini Cooper car, and then you start seeing that brand absolutely everywhere, but it's because you're aware of it now. And design is the same. Once you start noticing it, you can't stop. And there's a bit of a joke that designers will ridicule menus because we look at the typography of it, just because that's what our eyes go to. So my note is the more you look for it, the more you'll find it. So if you're interested in design or a topic, do some research, find out more, because there are so many different routes. The possibilities of working as a designer is kind of endless. And the last quote is that you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. And I love this quote because it promotes action and makes you think of your goals straight away. The plague of perfectionism is one that I still experience now, and it prevents you from doing work because you want it to be perfect. But then that also stops you from sharing work because you never feel like it's quite right. A lot of design is focused around grid systems and measurement, so sometimes it can feel like it's never quite right, but it's more about the idea than the execution sometimes. So if you've got an idea, just get it out there. And a cure for this is passion projects. And I have done many in my career. And they're actually encouraged throughout the industry. So not only does it allow you to try new techniques, but it also helps you develop skill sets. Um, and it keeps my love for design outside of work as well, whether it's creating mixtapes. I designed my birthday cards last year. So it just allows you to experiment without the pressure of having a client or money involved with it. And you get to pop this all in your portfolio as well if you like to. And I've got this kind of Venn diagram of how you could find a career within design or like a specific job role that you'd like. So if you write down like a passion, an industry that you're interested in, say it's fashion or cars, and then also a skill that you're really good at. So maybe you're good at animation. You can kind of find one in the middle. So for me, I love nature. I grew up on a sheep farm, so I've always been around nature. I love communications, people talking. So that was the industry that I chose. And then my skill sets within branding and business. I took business studies, so I kind of do it with my design career too. So in the middle, it looks like a really long title, but it is to be a branding designer with sustainable and eco businesses. And that's what I basically do now. So my piece of advice is do not have an empty portfolio. Keep building it, keep changing it, because this is what agencies, clients, people that are hiring you, that's what they're going to look at. So make sure it's filled with your content and your style. And my last note is to be vulnerable with your work and share it. Because design is such a visual career, you have to be able to see what people are doing and what people are working on. So show off your skills. And a lot of the design industry, especially freelancing, is based on referrals. So it gets people talking about you and hopefully gets you to be a graphic designer. So I hope you've all written some notes from this and hope I've done it all in the amount of time that I've been given. If not, you can just take my notes. I'll leave them up here. But thank you so much for listening. Do we have any time for questions?
Yeah, we do. You are finishing early. So we've
Yeah,
got 4 minutes for questions. So I'm not sure if anyone does have any questions, but now is your chance to ask. I've got a couple of questions to kick off, if that's okay.
yeah, go for it.
So tell us a bit more about, I guess, your first big break into the industry. I think that's what we want to know more about. And are you willing to disclose any kind of payment sums, I suppose, your first paid job?
Oh my gosh, my first paid job was actually my housemate. So I was living back in Canada for about 2 years, and he was a writer, and he was like, "Please, can you make me a logo?" And I was like, sure, why not? Let's make you a logo. And that was my first ever logo, and I still have it now to this day. Um, and that was my first freelancing gig, which is so ironic because that's literally what I do as a job now, 7, 8 years later. And I still absolutely love it. So yeah, that was my first little paid gig.
Oh my God, I love that. Also, just goes to show that like your first pay could come from anywhere. It could come in,
Yeah,
could come from the person down the road, the coffee shop. Who knows?
yeah, literally.
How else do you go about winning clients nowadays?
You can do it in so many different ways. A lot of it is word of mouth. So I did another talk at Falmouth University and I did a section on networking from your nan. So, like you were saying, anyone who can recommend you um, can also get you some work, which is great. Um, you can also do pitching, so sending your portfolio to agencies or clients. There's so many good places to find design jobs as well. I don't know if it's been mentioned, but there's a site called If You Could Jobs, and that's mainly design jobs. I'll send you a link to it to add into the references. But that's a really amazing place too, and that will provide you a direct link or email to send to the client.
Amazing. If you could jobs, guys, that is the recommendation. Okay, we've had Lulu ask portfolios, printed, paper, or digital social media.
Oh, can I say all of them? Like all of them's good, but I'd say the main two essentials is an online portfolio. So whether that's website or socials, websites probably the best to just link and send off to a client in the email or a PDF one, because that is something that you can attach to an email and they have it straight away. It requires them to do no work. And also, then you get to choose what work you put in there and what work that they see. So, those are the two essentials I would start with.
Great question and great answer. That is actually probably the only one that we've got time for
No
there, sadly,
worries.
because we have now run out of time. Bron, that was a fantastic presentation. I did say to you beforehand, we can rely on the designers to do good presentations, so you
Yeah.
absolutely delivered on that.
Oh, thank you so much.
And just a really interesting talk, hearing all about your story and your tips. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your work. Um,
Awesome. Thank
right,
you.
I'm going to make